All right. 4-0 Select Board. This is on the capital improvement plan. I'll call the meeting to order. November 3rd, 2025, 7 PM. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Seeing none. Capital improvement plan. Hearing notice, capital improvement plan, capital plan fiscal year 2026 to 2031. Gentlemen, would you like to present?
Certainly. Well, thanks everyone for coming out. We appreciate it. There's time for questions at the end, but if there are any questions related to specific slides, just ask them as we go along. That way we don't have to come back. So starting with the opening slide, just a few definitions. Nope, go back, please. So when we talk about a capital improvement plan, what do we mean by capital? It's any project of $10,000 or more that we're dealing with. Below 10,000, I think they're just out of the operating budget. Looking at the capital plan fiscal year 26 to 31, we are currently in fiscal year 2026. Next year will be fiscal year 27, which is the annual capital budget for fiscal. So the capital plan has two major components. The annual capital budget, which would be next year, and then the 4-year plan that goes after that. And that 5-year plan then forms the budget. Slide, please. So this is a lot of numbers, and if you have it in front of you, it might be easier. What we're looking at, and there's 3 sheets like this, because as we talked about on the first slide, this plan entails 6 years. Fiscal year 26, fiscal year 27, which is next year. The other 2 slides will cover the next 4 years. And so if you look down the left, the summary lists which group is involved, the sub-department, the priority as rated by that department when they submit their sheets to us, description of the project, the year that it's projected to take place, the anticipated costs, what reserve balances are available at the start of the year, or I guess in this case, at this point, what's being built into the budget for allocations to the reserve, or coming from the general fund, and then other funding. So if you just look at the top line in yellow, the fire department, all the way over other funding, that would be the bond that was approved a couple of months ago. So we go through it, and down at the bottom, it summarizes then what is the anticipated cost each year, what is the anticipated funding, and then it spreads that out over the next 6 years. So next slide. As we roll through, so now it's fiscal 28, fiscal 29, taking those projects that we saw, again, they're still, I guess, summarized in the columns 4, 5, 6, continuing to spread them out. And then last slide for this. Adding the fiscal 30, 31, and then some notes. So on some of the notes, it's where sources of funding are coming from, and just any other notes that might relate to the projects. So this is essentially the plan as it comes to the numbers. And then maybe let's dig into some of these numbers. Next slide, please. So here is the summary of what the Capital Improvement Committee is proposing as the capital budget for the, this is the summary of what we've done this past year. So 26, 27, which is, no, this is the next year coming up, I'm sorry. The anticipated budget for the coming year. So you can see, looking at the fire department, and public works with the fire station and the works garage. The notes on the right are showing how both projects have started in fiscal year 26, and they will now carry over to next year's budget year, and we'll be showing that. The listers, money that will be required, that will be coming from the reserve fund, and that will be happening in fiscal year 27 and fiscal year 28, because it carries over for more than 1 year. Vault door for the town office, and then some projects for the library. Another big one, the replacement of the water line along US Route 2, which again has started already in this fiscal year and will carry over into next fiscal year. So, slide please. Where's money for all this coming from? Fiscal year 26, again, this current budget year, there was already 1.3 million in reserves. Debt, which was the bond that was approved, money coming out of, a revolving fund and grants. Other Vermont Community Foundation, which, provides some support. And if you look then total funding and total expenditures, there's a variance of $15,000, and that's the select board is, considering, I guess, traffic speed warning lights.
Correct.
Yeah,
Right.
so that hasn't been decided yet, so it's just shown separately at the bottom. Moving that into fiscal 27, next budget year, where's the money for almost $2 million with the project coming from? Some is from reserves, a lot of it is the carryover of the debt from the bond that was approved. Grants to support a lot of these projects. And so you can see going into the coming budget year, the funding that's available will match the expenditures. From the existing planning that was going out, from the approved reserves, debt, and grants that are anticipated. As we move further out, fiscal 2028, similar thing. But I guess one of the things we need to anticipate is right now, it's not showing a lot of capital, certainly compared to the last couple of years. There is a possibility that additional projects could be coming in, certainly in fiscal 29, fiscal 30, where we're showing essentially nothing, but we'll get to that in terms of building some reserves in the slide. So currently, we're showing every year going out that the existing funding will match the capital expectations. But as with the caveat that we can't assume that there won't be new projects coming in. Slide, please. So this is a summary. If we look over to the left-hand side of the solid line, vertical line, it summarizes which project, the fiscal year or years that it is anticipated in, and the cost. So that's just a summary of all the projects that were on the other three sheets. To the right of that is reserves that are that we had planned on, and essentially the reserve that is shown for community hall, for the listers and so on, is just a continuation of those reserves that have been carried over each year from, I guess, the current fiscal year, and then we just assume that that would be the same amount put into the reserve funds each year going forward. That can change up or down depending on the need for funds. So if we go to the next slide.
We had,
Well,
it's that slide,
yeah, there was the slide with all the different
Yeah.
reserve funds.
we had talked about, do you want it?
Yeah, if you have it. I thought it was in there.
It was.
So you have a slide which summarizes the current reserve funds and the amounts that are in there. Here we go. So these are all the different capital reserve funds, or the balances of the different reserve funds that currently exist within the town of North Bureau. The water reserve fund, that number is probably changing because we're anticipating receiving a grant. But then there's also project is underway, so that's kind of a moving target. The reappraisal, that's the funds so far, with more to be added in the coming years. North Station renovation, so that would be related to the fire department, library, capital fund, and so on. So you can see that there's already a total of over $2 million set aside in reserves in anticipation of some of these projects coming forward. And that's important because if we think about, take a project of $130,000. Well, that represents about 10% of our operating budget. If suddenly we need $130,000 for a project and it just, people hadn't planned it, well, that potentially could mean an impact of 10% increase on tax in that year. Whereas if a project like that can be anticipated 3, 4, 5 years out, you could do a 2% tax increase this coming year. Let that 2% just carry through, and at the end of 5 years, you would have that same $130,000. So that is a lot of the value of this kind of capital planning, to anticipate what will be your capital needs, and okay, how are we best able to fund that? And is it small tax increases now so that we can avoid debt and avoid large tax increases in the future? So that's basically part of the philosophy. And that's it. Questions?
And these numbers here, Jim, are not quite exact.
And what,
They were at the time there. Well, I'm just looking at like the reserves here for the, North Station renovation there. I mean, our latest numbers here, just over nine.
yeah, these can
Just over 900,000.
Yeah. Because the garage and the fire hall and Route 2 are carryovers, so there's money going in and money coming out. It's
Yeah.
very dynamic, those two projects.
Now, I noticed there that you had in there, you'll have to excuse me, you may have gone over this on the 8th. October 8th, but, so. In your lines there, you have your priority lines there, of number 1. In the yellow,
And the
it's
others,
right back in the beginning there, Lisa. Yeah, so. So now, as long as we carry that bond, does that remain a 1?
well, once the project is complete, it would disappear from the sheet.
Okay, so when it's complete there, then it disappears.
Right, because then it's just gonna be in the operating budget is debt service.
Okay.
Payment, I presume.
All right,
Well, I'd like to thank you for the presentation and for all the work the CIP committee has done. I think this planning is gonna have a significant and very positive impact on our ability to meet future expenses and budget for them appropriately. So thank you.
Great, you want?
yes, thank you all. Any public comment?
To clarify some things on the library, if you want me to.
If you would like to, is there anything wrong with it?
The bookshed's been done and that was covered by primarily by the carpet replacement, down payment's already been done.
Okay,
And it's possible that we're gonna get a grant for the outdoor refresh. That's all.
Great.
excellent, excellent. Okay. So that'll affect those numbers a bit.
Mhm.
And a net positive for the town.
Well, that actually,
Capital reserve.
does that take away the 15,000 that we showed in red? For the traffic signs?
It could,
Yeah,
if the library.
if
lets
we,
you have their money.
yeah, well, I'm just looking I'm looking bottom line, so, all right. Are there any other, comments? Questions? Hearing none?
I'll make a motion to adjourn our special meeting. I'll second it.
Right, Harry makes a motion, Joe seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.